you're losing time. Not because you're lazy, but because you keep explaining yourself to people who don't matter. Silence is not weakness. It's power mastered. In a world addicted to noise, attention, and constant validation, what if I told you the fastest way to level up your life is to stop talking and start focusing on you? Ask yourself, who are you really building your life for? If you feel drained, stuck, or like you're always proving your worth, it's no accident. That's the trap. And in this video, you're about to learn why focusing inward and saying less will unlock more than any hustle ever could. But here's the catch. It's not easy, and that's where this gets real. The problem isn't motivation, it's noise, and I promise you, if you're going to get anything out of this video, just get that. That's all you need to know in life. Stay till the end. There's a powerful bonus lesson you won't want to miss. Number 1. The power of self-focus. Return to your center. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. These words aren't just philosophy. They are survival instructions in a noisy, chaotic world. When everything feels out of place, when overthinking drowns your clarity and distractions pull you in every direction, there is one answer Buddhism has always offered. Return to your center. Imagine you are the sun, constant, radiant, powerful. But storms pass, clouds, thunder, darkness, they come and go. They're not you. You've just forgotten that. Because instead of shining from within, you're watching the weather. You scroll through someone else's highlight reel. You replay a conversation from last week. You anticipate tomorrow's stress. And slowly, the present moment slips through your fingers like sand. That's the cost of losing your center. You're everywhere, but not here. You're connected to everything, but yourself. But here's the shift. What if the silence you're avoiding is actually the solution you need? When you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything begins to fall into place. Not because the world changes, but because you do. In Buddhist philosophy, mindfulness is not just meditation. It's remembering who you are when the world forgets. It's turning the mirror inward. It's watching your breath instead of watching your worries. That's the path to freedom. Because the moment you stop trying to control the storm outside and start mastering the one inside, clarity returns. Have you noticed how often you chase validation, compare your timing, or fight battles that were never yours to begin with? Every time you look outward for peace, you trade your power for approval. But every time you sit still, breathe deeply, and return to your values, you reclaim your life. Here's how you begin. Step 1. Silence the noise, not by running away, but by creating stillness inside. Step 2. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Let them rise and fall like waves. Step 3. Focus on what you can control, your energy, your discipline, your response. Step 4. Repeat. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily return to your center. There was once a monk who sat silently while the village argued around him. When asked why he didn't join the chaos, he replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does it belong?" That's the power of staying silent. Not out of weakness, but wisdom. So ask yourself today, where is your energy going? Are you feeding your fears or your future? Are you living for approval or alignment? The truth is simple. The more you focus on yourself, not in ego, but in awareness, the more your life aligns. You stop reacting. You start choosing. You stop chasing. You start creating. The noise will always be there, but you don't have to be in it. You are the sun. The storm is temporary. Return to your breath. Return to your values. Return to yourself. Because when you do, everything else begins to fall into place. Silence isn't the absence of strength. It's the presence of power. 2. Silence as strength. Speak less, align more. Silence is not empty. It is full of answers. In a world that rewards noise, constant updates, and quick reactions, silence has become a lost art. But in Buddhism, silence is not absence. It is alignment. It is power wrapped in stillness. Like a calm lake that reflects the sky with perfect clarity, the mind only becomes truly perceptive when it is still. Think about it. How often do we speak just to fill the void, to defend ourselves, to prove we're right? But every word you release spends your energy. And in that rush to respond, you often lose something more valuable, your peace. That's why, in moments of chaos, the strongest thing you can do is pause. There's a story of a Zen master who would remain silent even when provoked, insulted, or misunderstood. When asked why, he simply said, "I choose peace over proving." That kind of restraint isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because not everything needs a reaction. Not every opinion needs a reply. Sometimes, the deepest strength lies in what you choose not to say. Have you ever walked away from a conversation wishing you had said less? Or maybe stayed up at night replaying words you regret? You're not alone. But here's the shift. What if silence was your superpower? What if the moment you held back became the moment you took back control? When you speak less, you listen more, not just to others, but to yourself. Your intentions become clearer, your thoughts sharper. You stop broadcasting noise and you begin projecting presence, and presence is magnetic. People trust those who are calm under pressure, who don't flinch in chaos, who don't need to be the loudest voice in the room because their silence says enough. Here's how to start aligning through silence. Step 1. Before you speak, pause. Ask, does this need to be said, and will it add peace or noise? Step 2. Practice listening fully, not just waiting for your turn to respond. Step 3. Use silence as a filter. Let emotions settle before choosing your reaction. Step 4. Reflect often. What did silence teach you today? One day, you'll realize the moments you didn't react protected your energy. The words you didn't say preserved your relationships. The silence you embraced helped you see clearly, choose wisely, and live more intentionally. So let me ask you, when was the last time your silence said more than your words? Could holding back your reaction become your greatest act of self-control? You don't have to explain yourself to be understood. You don't have to react to be powerful. True mastery is found not in domination, but in discipline. Not in speaking often, but in speaking wisely. In a noisy world, silence is a rebellion. It's how you rise above the chaos. It's how you reclaim your peace. Sometimes, the loudest message is the one you never speak. 3. Detaching from negativity. Become untouchable. You only lose what you cling to. These words from Buddhist wisdom strike deeper than most realize. Because every time you hold on to negativity, an insult, a failure, a memory, you invite suffering into your life. But what if you didn't have to? What if, instead of reacting, you simply let go? Picture the sky, vast, open, untouched. No matter how many storms pass through, the sky remains. That's your mind. Or at least, it can be. In a world that thrives on reaction, becoming untouchable isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. Imagine walking through life with a mind like the sky. Thoughts pass, opinions come and go. Criticism drifts in, but never takes root. You observe, you learn, but you don't cling. That's not weakness. That's mastery. Too often, we wear other people's projections as our own. Someone judges you, and you carry that pain. Someone doubts you, and you shrink. But here's the truth, not every voice deserves your attention. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it's true. Detachment is choosing your peace over their noise. It's realizing that you are not every thought, every emotion, or every reaction that passes through you. Have you ever noticed how drained you feel after holding on to resentment, replaying an argument, or seeking validation from someone who doesn't understand your path? That exhaustion isn't from the situation, it's from your attachment to it. How often are you absorbing what you should be ignoring? Here's how you start protecting your inner space. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. Notice when something outside you pulls your peace. Step 2. Pause before reacting. Feel the emotion, but don't become it. Step 3. Ask yourself, does this deserve a place in my mind? Step 4. Let it pass. Visualize it like a cloud drifting through the sky. You are the sky, not the storm. There's a story of a monk who was insulted by a traveler. The monk simply smiled. When asked later why he didn't respond, he said, "If someone hands you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does it belong?" That's the essence of detachment. It's not passive, it's powerfully active. It's you choosing peace instead of pain, silence instead of struggle, clarity instead of confusion. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply about what truly matters, your growth, your mindset, your energy. And when you stop trying to control every opinion, change every critic, and explain every action, you become untouchable, not by force, but by freedom. So let me ask you, what if not reacting was your ultimate freedom? What would your life look like if you stopped clinging to the noise and started protecting your peace? In a world addicted to conflict, your calm is rebellion. Let the storms pass. Let the noise fade. Choose not to absorb, and you rise. The less you cling, the higher you rise. 4. Discipline is divine. Create your inner structure. A disciplined mind brings happiness, not someday, not when life gets easier, but right now, because discipline is not restriction, it's freedom through structure. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your time, and your energy, discipline is how you take it all back. Think of a bamboo tree. For years, it grows roots underground, nothing visible, no outward progress. But then, almost overnight, it shoots up taller than most trees. That's the power of inner structure. Unseen effort, quiet growth, explosive transformation. In Buddhism, discipline isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. It's a sacred devotion to your highest self, even when no one's watching. Especially then, because the truth is, when the world is chaotic, your habits become your shelter. When emotions rise, routine becomes your compass. Discipline silences chaos, not by removing it, but by rising above it. You don't wait to feel ready. You train your mind to show up, no matter how it feels. How many days have you waited for motivation, waited to feel like it? And how many more will you waste if you don't build the discipline to begin? Discipline is what you do when it's raining, when you're tired, when the voice in your head says, "Not today." Because that voice isn't your truth. It's your test. And every time you push through it, your mind grows stronger. What does your mind do when no one is watching? That's the real question. It's easy to perform when others see you. But growth lives in the quiet repetitions, the early mornings, the daily meditations, the moments you choose your breath over your anger, your journal over your screen, your purpose over your impulses. Here's how you build sacred structure within. Step 1. Create small rituals that align with your values. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start with one. Step 2. Repeat it daily, no matter your mood. Discipline doesn't need enthusiasm, it needs consistency. Step 3. Track how it changes your energy. When peace becomes your reward, motivation becomes irrelevant. Step 4. Refine, not perfect. Discipline isn't about doing it all. It's about doing what matters most, consistently. There's a story of a monk who swept the same garden every morning, even when there was no wind. When asked why, he said, "It's not about the leaves. It's about the mind I bring to the task." That's what self-discipline truly is. It's not just what you do, it's who you become while doing it. So ask yourself today, what would your life look like if your actions aligned with your values? If you honored your peace with discipline instead of waiting for motivation? Focus on yourself. Build silently. Show up daily. Because one day, just like that bamboo, all that unseen effort will rise, and it will be unmistakable. Discipline is the quiet force that builds the life you're dreaming of. 5. Let go of toxic people. Protect your peace. If you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path, but not if they keep blowing it out. Sometimes, the most courageous act of self-love is walking away, not in anger, but in wisdom. You can't grow in the same environment that stunted your spirit. You can't heal in the same room where your peace was shattered. And yet, many of us stay hoping our light will change the people who dim it. But ask yourself, are you nourishing your spirit or constantly recovering from energy drains? Buddhism teaches compassion for all beings, but never at the cost of self-neglect. You are not meant to carry the weight of toxic relationships as a measure of your kindness. True compassion also means protecting your peace. Energy is contagious. The more you surround yourself with chaos, gossip, and negativity, the more you absorb it. And soon, it becomes hard to tell where their noise ends and your truth begins. There's a story of a monk who would bless every person he passed. One day, a traveler full of bitterness mocked him. The monk smiled and remained silent. When asked why, he replied, "When someone offers you poison, you don't have to drink it." That's the wisdom we forget. Letting go of someone doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've decided to stop harming yourself. Toxic people often wear familiar faces: friends, family, even partners. But familiarity doesn't equal safety. You can love someone deeply and still realize they are not meant to walk your path. Some connections are lessons, not lifelong companions. The more you cling, the more you bleed. But when you release the rope, you stop the pain. And in that space, healing begins. Here's how to start protecting your energy. Step 1. Observe how you feel after being around someone. Do you feel lighter or drained? Step 2. Set silent boundaries. You don't have to explain peace. Distance is a decision, not a debate. Step 3. Surround yourself with stillness. Let silence become your sanctuary, not drama your distraction. Step 4. Let go with compassion. Bless their path, but keep walking yours. This path is not about isolation, it's about alignment. When you protect your peace, you make room for people and environments that nourish your growth. People who respect your silence, support your discipline, inspire your transformation. These are the souls who match your healing, not fight it. So I ask you, who would you be without the noise around you? Without the voices that question your worth, distract your mind, and weigh down your spirit? You'd be free. You'd be focused. You'd be whole. There's nothing wrong with choosing yourself. In fact, that might be the most sacred decision you ever make. Not everyone can go where you're going, and that's okay. Letting go isn't loss. It's making space for the peace you were always meant to feel. 6. Master small habits. Shape your reality. What you do today is what you become tomorrow. Not in the loud moments, but in the quiet ones. Not when others are watching, but when it's just you, alone with your choices. We tend to believe transformation arrives in one great breakthrough, but real growth comes in whispers. In the quiet commitment to tiny actions that seem invisible at first, but become everything in the end. Tiny drops fill a vast ocean, one breath, one choice, one promise at a time. Buddhism teaches that every moment is both the seed and the soil of who you're becoming. The life you want is not out there in the distant future. It's being designed by the habits you live right now. What thoughts you feed, what energy you protect, what rituals you keep when no one's around. That's how your reality is built, from the inside out. Peace is not something you wait to feel. It's something you build daily with intention. Through habits so small, they may seem insignificant, but done consistently, they rewire your identity. A morning breath instead of a morning scroll. A cup of tea in silence instead of rushing into stress. A 5-minute meditation instead of drowning in overthinking. These are not rules, they're rituals. Anchors that pull you back to your center. Practices that protect your mind from the chaos of the world. Think of your daily habits as spiritual architecture. Each act of mindfulness is a brick. Each choice to pause is a beam. Each moment of silence is a window into clarity. When you keep showing up for yourself, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, you're building a temple inside. A place no negativity can touch. So ask yourself, what habit is silently designing your future right now? Is it strengthening your peace or feeding your distractions? Are you honoring your future self or avoiding the work that would set you free? Start small. Step 1. Choose one habit that reconnects you to your higher self. Step 2. Tie it to something you already do daily. Stack it. Step 3. Protect that practice. Let nothing interfere. Not emotion, not excuse. Step 4. Notice how you feel after. Let the habit become your teacher. The beauty of small habits is they build self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you tell your mind, I am someone who follows through. And that belief becomes your identity. That identity shapes your decisions. Those decisions shape your life. There's an old saying, first we make our habits, then our habits make us. So build carefully, build quietly, build with love. Because the life you crave isn't found in massive changes. It's hidden in the small sacred moments you repeat when no one's clapping. Big change isn't made through force. It's shaped by quiet, daily devotion to who you're becoming. 7. Mindfulness in chaos. Respond, don't react. Do not learn how to react, learn how to respond. In the middle of chaos, most people get swept away. A sharp word, an unexpected event, a wave of discomfort, and suddenly, they're caught in a storm of reactions. But imagine being the calm in that storm. Imagine being so rooted in yourself that no matter what hits, you bend, you sway, but you don't break. Like the strongest tree that survives the storm, not by fighting the wind, but by flowing with it, anchored deep beneath the surface. This is the art of mindfulness in chaos. Buddhism teaches us that suffering doesn't come from what happens. It comes from how we react. The mind, untrained, jumps to defend, to blame, to panic. But a mind trained in presence pauses. And in that pause lies power. That pause is where peace begins. Think about the last time you overreacted. Did it fix anything, or did it multiply the pain? Reactions come from ego, quick, emotional, and defensive. But responses, they come from wisdom. From the breath you took before speaking. From the awareness you chose before deciding. from the stillness you cultivated before the world could shake you. There's a simple truth. Your breath is your anchor. No matter how chaotic the moment, you always have that breath. It's the doorway back to clarity. One deep inhale before answering the message. One quiet exhale before replying in anger. One moment of stillness before taking action. This is how you train your mind to respond, not react. Let's bring this into your daily life. Step 1. Start noticing your triggers. What people, moments, or thoughts cause instant reaction. Step 2. Interrupt that pattern with breath, just 5 seconds. Inhale, exhale. Step 3. Ask yourself, will this reaction bring peace or prolong pain? Step 4. Practice daily, even in small annoyances. Build your response muscle. It won't always be easy, but mindfulness isn't about perfection, it's about intention. Every time you catch yourself before reacting, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of emotion and start becoming the master of your energy. Over time, people will feel your stillness. Your silence will speak louder than any reaction ever could. And your presence, calm, rooted, unshakable, will begin to shift the chaos around you. Ask yourself this: are your reactions helping you evolve, or are they chaining you to your past? Can you be still, even when the world is loud? This isn't just emotional control, it's spiritual maturity. It's choosing peace over proving a point, presence over pride, wisdom over impulse. And every time you choose to respond, instead of react, you're not just protecting your peace, you're practicing freedom. True strength is silent. It responds with wisdom, not noise. Master the pause, and you master yourself. 8. Self-inquiry. Know thy inner world. Know well what leads you forward and what holds you back. Most people move through life reacting, adjusting, surviving, rarely pausing to understand what's actually happening inside. But Buddhism teaches us, if the mind is the lens through which we see the world, then self-awareness is the act of cleaning that lens. You can't fix what you don't see. You can't grow past what you don't admit. A house can only be cleaned when the lights are turned on. Self-inquiry is the flashlight. It's not loud, not glamorous. It's uncomfortable, even painful at times. But it's the highest form of courage. To look within, to ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? Why do I react the way I do? What am I running from in my silence? These questions don't give you instant answers, but they open a doorway. And once you walk through it, you can never go back to sleep. You may think you know yourself, but habits, triggers, and emotional patterns often hide in plain sight. Every time you get defensive, every time you procrastinate, every time you scroll for hours or stay silent when you should speak, those are signals. Not flaws, but mirrors. Self-inquiry is about tracking those signals and asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because every reaction reveals an unhealed place. Every fear points to something sacred underneath, and every avoidance is a map back to your truth. This isn't a one-time event. Self-awareness is a daily practice. It's sitting down in stillness, not to escape, but to observe. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Watch the stories you tell yourself. Trace the roots of your beliefs, not to punish yourself, but to finally understand yourself. And in that understanding comes freedom. So where do you begin? Step 1. Start journaling what triggers you. Write it raw, don't filter. Step 2. Every time you overreact, pause and ask, what fear is underneath this? Step 3. Practice sitting with your emotions instead of escaping them. Step 4. Replace judgment with curiosity. You're not broken, you're unfolding. It's easier to look outward, to blame, distract, overthink. But nothing changes until you turn inward, until you become brave enough to sit in your own silence and listen. That's where your power lives, not in changing the world, but in mastering the world within you. Ask yourself, what truth am I avoiding inside myself? What would happen if, instead of running, you simply stayed? Stayed present, stayed curious, stayed honest. That's when clarity comes, not as a loud epiphany, but as a whisper in the silence. You're not lost, you're just unfamiliar with the depths inside you. And when you finally explore them, you don't just find answers, you find yourself. Your peace begins the moment you stop running from yourself and start listening to the silence within. 9. Digital detachment. Disconnect to reconnect. The mind is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. In today's world, the real noise isn't outside. It's in your pocket. It buzzes, pings, scrolls endlessly. And without noticing, you become a passenger in your own mind, hijacked by the rhythm of other people's lives. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, you can't hear your soul if the volume of the world is always turned up. And this isn't just poetic, it's survival. Because a distracted mind cannot be a peaceful one. Every time you wake up and check your phone before checking in with yourself, you teach your brain that external chaos deserves your attention before your inner clarity. And that habit, innocent at first, grows into something dangerous. A life led by reaction, not reflection. You start thinking faster, but understanding less. You're fed more content, but feel emptier. That's not connection. It's fragmentation. It's mental clutter disguised as stimulation. What if you just stepped away, logged off, not forever, but long enough to hear yourself again, long enough to feel boredom return, not as a flaw, but as an invitation? Because boredom is the beginning of self-reflection. That's where clarity lives, not in the scroll, but in the silence, not in consuming content, but in conserving consciousness. Try this. Schedule solitude the way you schedule meetings. Make it sacred. No screen, no noise, just you and your thoughts. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, like something is missing. But what's really happening is you're remembering who you are, without all the noise. You're detoxing from the addiction to distraction. Ask yourself, is your screen time feeding your mind or fragmenting it? Are you using the internet, or is it using you? The goal isn't to abandon the digital world, but to master your relationship with it. To choose when to engage rather than be consumed by it. Digital detachment isn't about becoming a monk. It's about becoming the master of your own attention. It's about returning your energy to things that nourish your inner life. Stillness, breath, real presence. Set boundaries. Morning time, offline, meal times, bone down. Silence isn't an inconvenience. It's the space where healing happens. It's where you reconnect to your intuition, where scattered thoughts finally settle, and where you begin to feel centered again. And here's the truth. When you unplug from the noise, you replug into your power. You remember that your worth doesn't depend on notifications, that your peace doesn't require an audience, and that your mind, when disciplined, becomes your greatest ally. Ask yourself, what would your day feel like if you weren't constantly plugged in? What kind of clarity, creativity, and calm could you access if your attention wasn't constantly hijacked? Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is log out of the world and log back into yourself. 10. Let go of the outcome. Focus on the effort. There comes a moment in every journey when you have to decide, will you keep walking, even if the destination is uncertain? So many people suffer not because of failure, but because they can't control the result. But the wisdom of Buddhism whispers a different way. Do your duty, but do not concern yourself with the results. It sounds simple, yet it's one of the most powerful teachings of inner peace. Think of the farmer. He plants the seed, waters the soil, protects it from harm. But after that, he waits. He doesn't pull at the roots to check the progress. He doesn't panic if the rain is late. He trusts the unseen work. He surrenders. Clinging to the outcome is like holding your breath while waiting for applause. It creates tension, anxiety, and fear. You begin to measure your worth by external metrics, likes, rewards, validation, timing. But what if your job wasn't to predict the harvest, but to become excellent at planting? Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you focused only on the effort you give, not the outcome you fear. Because peace doesn't live in results. It lives in presence. In knowing you showed up fully, did your best, and released the rest. This is not passivity, it's power. It's a shift from control to contribution. When you focus on the process, you master the only thing you truly own, your action. Attachment to results pulls you out of the moment. It robs your energy and creativity. But when you detach, something beautiful happens. You move with grace instead of force. You stop rushing. You start flowing. Ask yourself honestly, are you working with presence or with attachment? Is your mind obsessed with what if or anchored in what now? So many procrastinate not because they're lazy, but because they fear the result. But effort with presence is a form of surrender. It says, I trust that if I pour myself into this moment, life will meet me where I am. Keep showing up, even when results are slow. Keep writing, creating, healing, learning, even if no one claps. Trust is built in silence. Growth happens in stillness. Life often aligns after you let go, not before. The moment you stop forcing things to happen is the moment space opens up for better outcomes, unseen blessings, and peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. So what would your life look like if you trusted the process more than the prize? If you stopped waiting for permission to feel proud and just gave your best regardless? That's freedom. That's presence. That's the path of the peaceful warrior, quiet, focused, unattached. When you focus on the effort and release the outcome, you don't just move through life, you rise through it. 11. Solitude as a superpower. Choose sacred. Aloneness. Most people fear being alone, not because solitude is painful, but because it reveals everything distraction hides. In a noisy world obsessed with connection, silence feels like emptiness. But the truth is, silence is not empty, it is full of answers. Solitude isn't a punishment, it's a portal. In silence, you hear the whispers of your soul. When you choose sacred aloneness, you step into your own energy, undisturbed, unfiltered, and unmasked. And that space, pure, quiet, and honest, is where real transformation begins. Think of a seed. Before it ever blooms above the surface, it spends time in the dark, alone, rooting itself. If it were disturbed too early, it would never survive the storm. You're no different. The strength you admire in others. It was built in seasons of isolation, those long, quiet moments when no one was watching. But everything was changing. Solitude is where your roots grow deep. Time alone reveals what noise disguises. It shows you your triggers, your thought patterns, your deepest desires. You begin to ask powerful questions. What am I chasing? Whose voice am I trying to impress? What do I truly want, beneath the pressure, beyond the noise? This kind of reflection doesn't happen when you're distracted. It happens when you sit with yourself, not to judge, not to fix, but simply to listen. So many are afraid to be alone because they mistake stillness for stagnation. But solitude is not idleness. It's self-restoration. It's where your mind finds clarity, your emotions soften, and your direction becomes clear. When you embrace time alone, you stop looking outside for answers and start trusting your own inner compass. Ask yourself, do you run from your own company or embrace it? Do you fill your days with noise to avoid hearing your own thoughts? Or do you allow silence to teach you? Because the person who can sit alone in stillness and feel full is the person no one can control. The deeper you know yourself, the less the world can shake you. In solitude, your energy stops leaking. You're no longer reacting, performing, or comparing. You're just being. And in that being, you remember your strength. You reconnect with your breath. You begin to realize, I am enough, even here, especially here. It's in that moment that your power returns, not from doing more, but from needing less. If you've been overwhelmed, scattered, or stuck, maybe you don't need more advice. Maybe you need less noise, less external validation, less comparison. Maybe your next breakthrough will come not from doing more, but from being alone long enough to hear what your soul is trying to say. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's sacred space. And when you choose yourself in silence, everything lost in the noise begins to return. Bonus principle: transcend overthinking. Be the watcher of thoughts. Overthinking is like trying to solve a puzzle that was never meant to be solved. Your mind loops, replays, analyzes, and predicts. You tell yourself you're just being cautious or thorough. But beneath it all is fear. The fear of losing control, of not being enough, of something going wrong. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Just like a river doesn't become the leaves that float on its surface, you don't have to become every thought that crosses your mind. You can choose to simply observe. And in that space of observation, overthinking begins to lose its grip. Imagine this. Your thoughts are leaves drifting down a stream. Some are heavy with fear, others stained by regret, and a few are bright with excitement. But none of them are you. The stream flows, and you watch. You don't dive in, you don't grab at the leaves. You just sit on the bank. This is mindfulness, this is presence. And it's the beginning of your freedom. Overthinking creates imaginary problems. You rehearse arguments that never happen, replay moments you can't change, and construct entire futures based on assumptions. But have you ever noticed that the peace you seek never comes from solving every scenario? It comes when you finally let go. The mind wants certainty, but life offers presence. When you choose to witness your thoughts rather than believe them, you return to what is real. This breath, this moment, this choice. Think about how much energy you've spent worrying about things that never happened. All those nights you couldn't sleep, all those conversations you replayed, all that guilt over things that were never fully in your control. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped following every thought? What would open up in your life if you learned to be the watcher, not the reactor? This is where Buddhism gently guides us, toward awareness, not attachment, toward the stillness underneath the noise. The moment you realize your thoughts are not facts, your life starts to change. You no longer panic at every passing fear. You no longer spiral every time uncertainty arises. Instead, you observe, you breathe, you anchor in presence. And suddenly, you begin to experience life, not just survive it. Let this be your new practice. When the thoughts come, and they always will, sit with them, but don't serve them tea. Acknowledge them like clouds in the sky. Let them pass. Come back to the breath, come back to now. Over time, you'll see that peace doesn't mean having no thoughts. It means not letting your thoughts have you. When you stop chasing thoughts and start witnessing them, everything changes. Because peace was never found in thinking more, but in being here now. Quick summary of the principles. The power of self-focus. True peace begins when you stop outsourcing your attention. When you focus inward, you gain clarity, energy, and direction. You become less reactive to the world and more connected to your purpose. Self-focus is the root of personal transformation. Silence as strength. Speaking less creates space for wisdom and presence. Silence isn't weakness. It's control, clarity, and alignment. It helps you listen more deeply, respond wisely, and guard your energy from unnecessary drama or noise. Detaching from negativity. Negativity loses its power when you choose not to engage with it. Let go of the urge to react, argue, or defend. Your strength lies in your ability to remain unaffected by chaos, criticism, or emotional noise around you. Discipline is divine. Discipline is the quiet foundation of peace and success. By committing to daily habits and showing up consistently, you train your mind to overcome excuses. Discipline aligns your actions with your highest intentions. Let go of toxic people. Protecting your peace sometimes means walking away. People who drain you, manipulate your energy, or create chaos must be released. Letting go is an act of self-respect and spiritual strength. Master small habits. Change doesn't come from one big leap, but from small daily improvements. Tiny, consistent actions shape your mindset and life over time. Build habits that serve your growth and stability. Mindfulness in chaos. Mindfulness is the ability to pause, breathe, and choose your response. When you observe instead of react, you break free from ego and unconscious behavior. It's the art of maintaining inner calm in outer storms. Self-inquiry. The more you understand yourself, the less the world can manipulate you. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of growth. Investigate your triggers, beliefs, and patterns to unlock healing and clarity. Digital detachment. The digital world thrives on distraction. Disconnect often to reconnect with your inner stillness. True connection begins when you stop letting screens control your attention and reclaim your mental space. Let go of the outcome. Surrender the need to control everything. Focus on effort, not outcome. When you release attachment to results, you reduce anxiety and allow life to unfold with grace and purpose. Solitude as a superpower. Solitude is sacred space for reflection, growth, and healing. It's not loneliness, it's choosing yourself. Time alone helps you realign with your truth and build inner resilience. Transcend overthinking. You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. Overthinking creates imaginary pain. Learn to witness your thoughts without attaching to them, and you will find a deeper, quieter clarity. In a world that constantly pulls your attention in every direction, the greatest revolution is to reclaim your focus. You are not here to be consumed by distractions, drama, or noise. You are here to awaken. When you focus on yourself, when you stay silent and align with your values, you stop chasing and start attracting. We often think control comes from managing everything around us. But true power lies in managing what's within: your thoughts, your responses, your time, and your energy. As the Zen philosophy teaches, when the mind is still, the truth has a chance to speak. The more you silence the outside world, the more your inner voice becomes your guide. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Let go of the urgency to explain yourself, prove yourself, or react. You don't need to prove your worth, you only need to live it. The most powerful transformation happens in solitude, in silence, and in sacred self-discipline. Take control by turning inward. Clean your inner house. Build habits that support your peace. Speak less, think deeply, and act with intention. This is not just personal growth, it's spiritual freedom. You are not here to survive life's chaos. You are here to rise above it. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. If these words stirred something in you, don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Like and share this video, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful and powerful life.